We're going to talk about fraudulent terms that make you spend a little bit more money as you buy whatever you're buying, as you invest in whatever you are investing. So the first word that comes is there's going to be a major road or highway passing through this land. As you buy this land, somebody tells you there's going to be a big institution near this piece of land, a university is going to set up, a highway is going to go through this land, a bypass is going to go through this land. Even though that may be a plan, if it does not happen, it will be fraudulent on your part because you will overpay for a piece of land that is in the middle of nowhere, that has no commercial prospects, that is far flung, and you cannot be able to build a home and stay, and you will have been scammed. That is a word that you should be able to ask yourself. Tell them, I will buy when this land starts construction. It may be pricier, but at least I'm sure things are going to happen. That is the first scam word that people market with and capture you and keep you buying things at an unnecessarily high price. The second thing that comes when you're buying a car, lady-owned car. I don't know why people assume lady-owned cars are better value. What I am sure about is that they are less dented. They have less cosmetic issues, less scratches, less dents, less accidents. That one I am sure. But in terms of how good they run, it is still very questionable because men take much more care of their cars than women, as they service them regularly, as they take them to the mechanic regularly, as they fix and touch on any sounds that they hear. It is not too hard to hear a lady saying that their car has been spoiled because the mechanic told them that their carburetor stopped functioning. Their carburetor. And mark you, this is a new car, and carburetors stopped being manufactured in the 1990s. They are able to be taken advantage of by these mechanics. And the mechanics are able to remove things that are necessary or important in the car because the lady will not notice. The lady becomes nervous when they go to the mechanic. They don't even like going to the mechanic. How are you going to maintain a car if you are afraid of going to the mechanic? And how are you going to buy a car that is called lady owned that may have had a lady who may have had mechanic visit traumas? Those are fraudulent terms that you need to decipher. Buy a car for what value it brings, not because of who may have owned it. It can easily be scammed. Another one that is related to the same is Indian owned car. In Kenya, it is assumed that Indians do not drive their car too fast, they don't drive their car too far, and they are more likely to not alter many things in their cars. So people buy because they assume the same. But judge a car for the value that it brings, not for the person who might have owned. You might have gotten a reckless, an enthusiastic Indian who may have overdriven it, who may have destroyed it in the process of owning this car. So able to take a car in the measure and in the grain of salt that it presents, not in who may have owned it. The other scam that comes with land and real estate is 70% sold. I remember one time walking through a certain apartment and looking, and it had a 70% sold for a while. For 4 years, it was still 70% sold. So where were these 30% of people who are yet to purchase this land and these properties? Where are they? Meaning that the land was probably not sold, probably it was at least 10%. And what makes me know that it is even more queer is because the property had not moved an inch in terms of development. You could actually see the 70% sold billboard getting old. Do not buy an item because of the assumed high demand of the product. This is one of the triggers that marketers use to trigger you to buy quickly without thinking, because when somebody buys something faster, they're more likely to be scammed. If you have to think about it, go home, sleep over it, talk with somebody about it. Don't just buy something just like that. That is why impulse buying It's the biggest killer of finances, especially with women. You are just walking around, and you just saw a shoe and it is written 70% off on the sale. Then they say it's 5,000 shillings. So you assume because it's 5,000 shillings and it's 70% off, it may have been 12,000 thereabout. So you just buy because you assume, but maybe the cost was just 7,000. That is just a sticker to say there was an offer, but you didn't know the original price. You assume and jump for pennies, then you are losing shillings. That is a stupid mistake. Don't buy things because they are on offer. Know their real value and know whether, if it is investment and properties, they are actually being sold, they're actually in demand. Is construction happening? Look over this investment and these properties over a period of time and confirm that they're actually selling. The other thing that most people fail at, especially is in investments, high growth, no risk. I remember going and looking over a property and somebody saying that in the phase 1 of the project that they did, that the houses that they were building were worth, they sold at 3 million, but somebody sold them the other day after the project was completed at 7 million. And I thought to myself, this must really get many people. That you can buy a property, hold it for a year after the project ends and sell it at 7 million. Why did the investors themselves not hold on a few units to be able to sell at this additional value? Because that is more than 100% value growth in 2 years. Wonderful investment. Think about it. Why didn't they do it? If somebody presents you an idea where they want some money that you can invest with them for exceptionally high growth, ask yourself, why didn't they take loan from a bank, even at high interest rate of 20%, and they are going to make 100% in 2 years, 50% per month? They're still going to make a lot more money and pay off their monies and still be wealthy. Why are they not doing it? But you, because you are gullible, you go on and invest because you are anticipating exceptionally high return on investment. Then they tell you there is no risk. There is no risk. There is always risk, and the greater the return, the greater the risk. Think about it, things to do like crypto. Crypto, I usually tell people who, if you're risk averse, don't think about it. Because crypto is high risk, but the potential for upswings is also great. So the reason for that is, if you're going to incur more heartaches, you might as well receive more greenbacks for your heartaches. You're going to have less heartaches, you receive little. That's why government bonds and bills pay a little bit of interest, but they are a lot secure. So if you cannot be able to handle a cringe-worthy market crash, stop thinking about high interest investments. And when somebody tells you high interest or high gains and low risk, please run away. It is a scam. Then the other thing that gets people, especially people who love consumable things, Black Friday sales. It has been noted through a research of a black market sale in London in the UK that more than 90% of the things that were on sale were actually being sold at the same value that they were sold weeks before. Meaning that you bought something, you lined up, you did all these things, and something that you bought now, you could have bought at the same price 2 weeks ago. Why bother with sales? And with sales, the other stupidity is people think that things are going to go away and move very fast, that people rush, because people are driven by as a herd. They're herd animals. Whenever somebody is doing something, they run to do it. Whenever somebody is doing something, they run to do it. There's one saying that I always used in all my investments. When people are greedy, I keep off. I don't do it. When people are fearful, I start investing. That's why I invest when the market is crashing. I put money. When the market is doing well and has an upswing and my investments are doing more than 20%, 30%, I sell. As I wait for the next time that people are panicking. That is how I make money, because I use a reverse. And sometimes it is something that you need to train yourself on. When you have the urge, when there's a lot of people trying to do something, keep off. When there's few people trying to do something, do it. because most likely that is where it is going to be high return. It may be high interest, it might be high risk, but it's going to be high return. But on this other one, it may be low interest, low return, and sometimes it could even be low return, high risk. So it is important that you know when to invest. Black Friday sales are not the place you go to get deals. Remember the research? 90% was not even a sale. It was said to be a sale. The only thing that was a sale was the name sale, Black Friday sale. Another thing that people are conned with is one-time offer. They're going to offer you a one-time offer. I remember there was a time I was looking at a one-time offer for a certain mobile phone I wanted to buy. Of course, I don't buy the latest mobile phones. I look at the mobile phone which is going out of the market because a newer version is coming and it's going to be a lot cheaper. I don't line up to buy iPhones. That's not my thing. Why bother when a year later a new iPhone is going to come out and it's going to be almost 50 to 70% cheaper? Why bother? So I wanted to buy this phone and I look online and it says one-time offer only, this amount of money, and I'm like, oh, one-time offer, this looks nice. But then I didn't have money, so I just said it's fine. I was not planning to buy this item, so it's fine. But then I look later on, I'm just doing my own things, then an advertisement comes, one-time offer, 2 weeks down the line, the same price. So it was not a one-time offer. They were trying to clear stock of the things that they already have. It was not a one-time offer. Many people buy things because they think that is the only time they can be able to get. If you are pushed, if you are directed, if you are programmed to buy something because there is that urge and there is that push and there are many people doing it, take a back seat. Allow people to just move and buy later when no one is running. Because remember, the golden rule in any investment is when people are greedy, be fearful. When people are fearful, be greedy. Hope that you are learning, you are growing, you're becoming better in your financial affairs. Remember to subscribe to the channel. Leave a comment down in the comment section of words and terms in marketing that are fraudulent and are meant to hook the people who are buying. Thank you and enjoy your